Okay. So, welcome everybody to the storytelling workshop. This is the free version of the storytelling workshop. We actually had a paid version a week or so ago. And so you guys are going to get a taste today, enough to kick you into action with this. I hope I inspire you to brainstorm some of the best of your signature stories, the ones that are gonna help people know, love, and trust you at a whole other level, so that they click on your bio link, they email you for a conversation, they wanna do that discovery call. Right? So if you haven't guessed by now, the stories we're telling are stories about yourself. They are raw, they are vulnerable, they are real. They are the stories that give your people permission to feel what they feel because you trailblazed telling your story. So today is mostly about writing out your story, right? The writing part, but this is also to do with speaking your story. So if you are more of a speaker than a writer, and you want to take the tips today in terms of like crafting your talks, cool. And some of you are writing your stories, and some of you are doing both. So I hope this inspires both things, right? And if at any time you guys have a question about something that I'm talking about today, I would truly love it if you just unmute and say, hey, Laura, I have a question about that. Like, go ahead, interrupt me. Let's be casual. Let's have fun today. Let me answer all your questions. Plus, my mouse has stopped working today and I'm on my little laptop and it's hard to see you guys. So please just unmute. You won't be interrupting, you'll just be adding to the conversation. So what if sharing your story saved somebody's life? Would you worry about it being good enough, or would you just worry about sharing it more? So there was probably a point where I was worried about it being good enough and I was holding back, but not anymore. And a lot of you have heard the story that inspires that sentence, and I'm going to share it in a few minutes. But being brave about sharing my stories, both written and spoken, wasn't only about business building, it was about healing myself. And back in 2015, I was writing a second book. I had started on my computer, already getting going with my writing of my second book. And somebody popped an email in my inbox about the program called Nanowrimo, and that's National Novel Writing Month of November. So back in 2015, the goal of that program was to write a 30,000 word book in 30 days. And I was like, yes, I've already started writing my book. I can totally do this. It was a free program, so it was like a no-brainer. And I signed up, and at the end of the 30 days of November in 2015, I actually had 65,000 words that I had written of a book detailing every single wound of my childhood. I called that book Love in a Nightmare. And a month later, on Christmas Eve of 2015, I attached it to an email and I sent it to my family. And my family does still speak to me, by the way. But the point there was that it wasn't about people reading the story. It was about the fact that I had to feng shui my soul of all of that stuff, clear a space out so that the real story could begin to move through me. And I could write the real book that you guys will read, which I think if I slide my computer over, you guys will see Brave Healing behind my shoulder back there. So Brave Healing is a signature book of mine of the stories that came through only after I wrote those first 65,000 words. And I'm actually not meaning to tell you that story to discourage you because you're like, oh my gosh, I have to write a whole book before I can write my whole book. No. You're going to pull what you need to pull out of what you wrote, right? And that could possibly be your book. But the 2015 Nanowrimo story is one of my signature stories. There are several of you here who have heard that story several times. It has to do with what I do, a healer and a writer, and how I mixed the two together to come up with a brave healing method of writing that we now publish books with. And it has been frickin' amazing. I believe that I'm setting another bar for a kind of writing that is world changing, because it's not just like getting into your professional mind and teaching your magical stuff and telling the world what they should do because they got to do this and that for healing. Like, dude, who are you to tell me what to do before you please let me get to know you first? So it's those vulnerable stories, those signature stories, the stories where people are like, oh yeah, oh my gosh, you sent that to your family? Oh my gosh, I don't know if I could ever do that. You know, it's stuff like that. Vulnerable, real stories. So stories about moments in your life that were a pivot for you, or a transformation, or a tragedy that you overcame, a trauma that you had, a lesson that you learned, defining moments, stories that make you who you are, teaching the healing magic that you teach today. So take a minute and take a deep breath and brainstorm some ideas of what you think your signature stories are. And I modeled the example with my 2015 Nanowrimo story. That's all I really want you to write right now. Like the day I did this, I just want a bullet list right now. Okay, what are some of the pivotal moments in your life that helped you do the brand of magic you do now? Did you have a defining moment where you were empowered to say something or do something that changed the trajectory of your life? I'm going to give you another minute to breathe and think about what these are. Bullet list a few for me there. And if you happen to be watching the replay today, you can pause here for a moment. Just journal out a list of those defining moments. I also want to give you the idea today that not every signature story is a tragedy or trauma. What was one of your moments of greatest joy where you could not contain yourself or that energy, and that changed your life? Write one or two of those down too. Got another few seconds, see how many you can get out. And remember, right now we're just making a list. Okay, by now everybody should have at least one, I hope, because that's all you need, by the way. But maybe some of you have a list of 10 already. I don't know. Some of you are fast writers, okay? So look down and circle the one that most relates to the current ideal client you have. Let's just see which one you circle. What's your intuition telling you about which one you should be circling right now? Which one relates the most to your current ideal client that you absolutely love and you wish your entire practice was full of? It might be her problem or her joy, desire. Closely related. Everyone circle one? Okay, I'm going to change my view so I can see as many of you as I...
Nothing is closely related.
pick your favorite one on your list. Pick the one that just is speaking to you in the deepest, most feels kind of way right now today, just to play with the workshop today. Got it? There's going to be 1 on your list, 2, 3 on your list that will have a stronger feel to you. I want you to pick those. So if me saying that made you want to circle 1 or 2 more, go for it. You feel something, you like get excited and you think, oh my gosh, maybe I could write this story. I haven't blogged about this story before. Oh my gosh, I haven't really told this story before. And you start to get a bit excited about what that was. Or you've told it before and you still get excited to tell it. Circle that one. So, Jen, did you circle 1 big one?
Yes.
So tell us the bullet list line of what it is. The time what was it?
Wealth codes for entrepreneurs.
I want to hear what the defining moment was.
The defining moment,
Yeah.
realizing that all of the practices I do, I wasn't necessarily doing in my business. I was still segregating personal life and business life, spiritual life and business life. And when I realized that it is all integrated and I get to do all those things to increase my bottom line, that was a game changer.
Okay, the moment she realized would be a good prompt, right? The moment you realized something and things shifted from there. Who else wants to just tell me their circled one? Just unmute, you guys. Yeah, Michelle Clifton.
Well, the thing that, I play Tibetan singing bowls, and my passion now, because I've studied energy healing for 30 years, longer than that, and done all kinds. But once I placed a Tibetan singing bowl on my chest and played it myself, I thought I died and went to heaven.
Ooh.
And I thought, I want anyone who's interested in this to experience it and to then decide for themselves, do they want to learn how to do it for
Perfect.
themselves, where they can continue? Because I'm a teacher trainer and teaching it, but then I also do sound baths.
Okay, perfect. We got yours. We got yours. And I'm going to do you a favor right now. I'm going to take Michelle's signature story 1 step further. And I'm going to say that the hook line opener for her story should be, I died, thought I died and went to heaven when
Okay.
I set my bowl on my own chest, laid down on the floor, set my own bowl on my chest and played it. That's the hook. And I want you guys to have a hook for these signature stories that make people put their phone down. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Who else wants to tell me their bullet list? No backstory, you guys. You got to tell me just what the idea is. Isabella, long time no see, girl.
Yes, hello. Okay, so I was in Sedona. It was 2004, and I heard the only healing power in this universe is love. And I knew that I want to learn everything about it from that moment.
Okay, I'm going to do you a favor. Where were you? What were the surroundings? Were you sitting on one of the red rocks laying in the sunshine and all of a sudden you heard this noise and you sat up, right? So I want to feel where she was for her defining moment in terms of showing me the scene. I'm getting a little bit into some, how to write these things better, which today isn't going to be much about, but I can't help myself sometimes when I hear stuff like that. I heard this message, from where, like what was happening? Where were you sitting? How, what did you feel at that point? That's awesome, Isabella.
Wow, cool.
Bernadette, I think I saw your hand as well.
Yes. My circled story is the day I had my mother escorted out of my hospital room.
You guys feeling that with me? Bernadette, you need to get with Catherine Yarborough. We were just having a whole talk about mothers a few hours ago, an hour ago. Yes, you all felt that, I think. Like, you see what I'm talking about? So she bullet listed for us, but she also hook lined us too. Right? And I see all kinds of hands up top. Okay, Mary Lloyd, what was yours?
When I realized that I did not exist.
That you did not exist.
Yes. I had become somebody else that everybody else wanted. I didn't know me.
Nice.
Let's
Awesome.
see your picture.
I'm sorry, my camera isn't there.
Desiree, am I getting your name right?
Yep. The day my boss and mentor died,
Okay. Do you know how they died?
heart attack, 58 years
There you
old.
go. There's the hook details. Because a lot of people die, but definitely a lot of people don't die at 58 of a heart attack. And they could have been like an athlete. They could have been, right? There's going to be some details that you're going to put into that hook. Is it Sakai?
Sakai.
Okay. What's
Good
yours?
job. Mine is the day that I asked for a divorce. Just turned
Okay.
into my greatest joy.
After how many years?
7.
Okay.
Almost 7.
And so I could have taken this any direction. What I would say to that is after only 7 years, I asked for a divorce, and I want dialogue. I want quotes around what you said to your partner, and that's your hook line. So sometimes you guys need to hook with what was actually happening in the room of the defining moment between the two people or in your head. And I'm telling you, if you get a good hook, people will read or they will want to listen to the rest of the story. Tina, you got one?
Yes, I do. When I was 15 and I found my dog dead after being hit by a car and went to call the emergency phone number that my dad gave me to call him, and I found out by accident he had moved out and was living with another family.
Oh boy. There's a story for you. Yeah. I heard a wow. Yeah, wow. And that's exactly what you want your listener or reader to actually say in their head. Holy crap. Really? And this is because most of the time it's less than that. It's oh my God, thank God someone's telling a story like that, because it's also my story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. That happened to me, or something similar. Or it's perspective. You've given them perspective on their smaller problem, and they're like, oh, whoa. They've been through that. Okay, perspective. Like it's a moment of awareness. A little tiny bit of healing happens in those moments. Tiny little bit of healing happens in your storytelling for you, the teller, and for the receiver. Healing happens in both directions every single time you choose to tell a story out loud about your own authentic life. And you should prioritize that healing at all times without trashing anyone. But you should prioritize your healing. And you should move it outside of the inside of your body by writing it down on paper. If you have to burn it, okay. Do the ritual, the ceremony of burning it if you have to, if no one is going to be reading those words, right? What happened to the 65,000 words I wrote? I trashed it. I took what I needed. I pulled out the stories I did want to share and pull forward into the book I actually published. And the rest of it, I have no idea where it is. Not going to use it. It was for my healing. Erica Jones.
I was thinking about writing about it for the Brave Healers writing contest.
Oh my God, don't tell me.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like a good idea. Erica, what was yours?
At 42 years old, in a breathwork ceremony, I realized for the first time I truly love my body and love myself.
Ooh. Okay, so for the first time in how many years?
Probably my whole life.
And how young are you?
42.
Okay, those are the details I need to hear, because I am the 42. I'm actually going to be 54 next week, but I am the 42-year-old that's listening to that, or the 40-something. The details are what bring this to the heart and soul of the people that you're telling it to. Don't spare any detail. The big, bad, ugly, best, all of them. I need all of them. Catherine, what's yours?
I actually have a question, Laura.
Yeah, shoot.
I have struggled with this pivotal moment type of a question with the story. I've had a couple of pivotal moments that I can make stories about, and I have, but a lot of my transformations have happened over time, and there were moments I could pick out, but that some of these things that people are saying, it's like, boom, wow, okay. And I know I've had a few of those, but they aren't what I want to use right now. So I love any guidance, support. I think stories are awesome.
There are going to be a lot of you who have a little string of stories that lead up to something. What did they lead up to? Did they lead up to the opening of your business? Did they lead up to you moving houses? Did they lead up to something where something else happened and actually that was the pivotal thing? And you can string little stories together. Listen, people don't need your entire backstory to get to the juicy point of what you want to tell them. And especially in some of the books that we're publishing where I'm giving you guys 3,000 words to get all this out, right? And you're teaching a tool in there too. It's like, you're not going to tell me your entire life story in half a chapter. So choose the piece that the person working with you needs to hear to make them get into action. What if the pivotal moment was just a day you were sitting at your desk and an aha or a thought came to you and you created a program out of it? Or you followed your intuition, did something cool, and it worked out for once. These do not, that's why I was saying earlier, this does not have to be doom and gloom. You know what paralyzes people the most from telling their stories? Y'all think they aren't bad enough. I mean, so this is not a bad trauma story competition here. Give me the joy. Give me the other end of the spectrum. Give me anything in between that's going to connect with me on whatever level you want to connect with. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so the most recent transformational moment like that was tiny. I was in a Toastmasters Club meeting, and one of the speakers talked about something called micro movement, and all of a sudden I knew how to help speakers, entrepreneurs that I work with, speak vibrantly because of all the background that I've had up until now. And
Nice.
It's changing the course of my life. Now, how do I make that? I mean, that's like,
you make it into a scene, and I want 2 lines in actual quotes of was it a dude or a gal talking? It was a guy.
A guy.
Oh, so what the guy was talking about, I wanted in quotes, maybe a line or 2. And this is where you have creative license, because sometimes you can't remember every single word of every lecture you were in. So do the best you can, and then go into, I sat there listening to these words, and all of a sudden I realized. And now you're back to sharing your awareness with the reader of the story. But they got to be a fly on the wall of your scene. And again, I'm not going to go there today. We're going to do a whole workshop later in the month for becoming a better writer in terms of showing a scene versus telling a scene. But that's how I would attack that. Elizabeth, you got one for me? Sorry, I got you when you were drinking.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, this is the problem, Laura. I have several, and they're dramatic because as you know, I've performed them in a show and I've written them in the book. So I need to tighten it, I guess, right? Depending on the audience that I'm in front of, right?
Yeah, and what you're creating.
And what
if it's a blog, you might have a blog series of all these stories in a row, and people actually start to follow your blog because they can't wait for the next one. And if some of you wrote out 10 bullet lists or 15, or, you've got quite a list. Yeah, perfect. And then later that can become a book.
So can I try a little experiment here of tweaking something?
Give me one version of whatever your best one is.
One version is, as I was finishing writing my memoir, I had an experience communicating with my mother in spirit, which, helped me forgive her more fully and finish the book. Is
Okay,
that
so what I'm going to say for Elizabeth is a spiritual experience with my mother. You're telling it to me.
Yeah.
Give
Okay.
me the dialogue in your head that you heard. And that goes in italics when it's not out loud, y'all.
Right.
So if it's not two people in a room speaking out loud, that would be quote marks. But if it's a spirit message and you're hearing it, but you're just sitting there and you are the only one there, then I want that, Elizabeth. I don't want you to tell me you had an experience. I want to hear the
you
experience.
want to hear it? Okay. You want the scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's a great, great example.
Right.
And anytime you all gift us with the internal dialogue of your poor little head, we are going to have permission to be a little crazy too. We are going to have permission to feel like, holy crow, I am not the only one that happens to. Right. And so inner dialogue, inner critic noise and chatter can sometimes be an extremely powerful story. Your story might not involve anyone but you sitting in a chair after a meditation session and the voice dialogue that was going on the list. So you guys getting some ideas brewing here, right? Good. Okay, so the hard part, I think.
Laura, I have a question.
Yeah, shoot.
You just referred to it, and I know you've said it before. When is it that you put something in italics?
When it's not
italicized?
happening out loud. It's an inner voice you're hearing.
Okay.
A thought, a musing. And then if it's out loud, and listen, if you're walking in your house by yourself and you look out the window and see a gigantic red fox and you exclaim out loud to nobody, oh my God, look at that beautiful fox. That goes in quote marks. It was out loud. I don't care if there's no one else in the room. It's still something you said out loud. But if you stood in front of the window and nobody was in your house and you saw the fox and you stood there with this look on your face and just thought, oh my God, look at that beautiful fox. That's in italics.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. The hard part about writing and speaking at first, I think, is we don't know anyone is listening. We think maybe our mom or our BFF is the only one reading our stuff. And we get discouraged about these stories and we think it's not working. And what I want you to know about sharing words is this isn't a one-off, right? This is a consistent strategy where I want you to continue to share, and you can't just post a story, a blog, a post, an email newsletter, and expect that one thing to be the thing. You then have to share the thing in all of the other ways. Some people will not see it, especially if we're talking about Facebook and the algorithm. Oh, the A word. Right? So you got to share it again. You got to get a little writer's circle together and be a share group for each other. You all comment and share on each other's stuff. You will not believe what even 3 or 4 people in a share group will do to the algorithm. You will be surprised. Get with each other. That's why we're going to do a little contact information later, okay? And you've been hearing each other's stories, which was part of the intent here. It's like, oh, I had that too. Like you might want to get together with each other and have a little virtual chat, virtual coffee, right? So don't get discouraged about this. You have to get it out loud. You have to get it out there, and you have to get it out there consistently. Consistency in your posting and writing and publishing for the world is more important than frequency. Be consistent. You're going to get something out there once a month, get it out there once a month and don't fail. If you're going to do something once a week, do it once a week and don't miss a week. People will start to wonder where it is. They'll start to miss it. So you guys, back in 2016, I sat at my computer and I was doing my thing on Facebook, and up pops a messenger message from a total stranger. and it said, hey, I read that thing that you wrote on Mind Body Green and I loved it. And I have been struggling lately. And I was wondering if you had some more links I could read. And I was like, whoa, you know, honored that I had been read and that she was reaching out and asking me for more. So I had written, oh my God, like 300 blogs at that point on self-care. So I typed back, I said, hey, of course, you know, give me a minute, I'll drop you some links. So I dropped a couple of links for her. And we had chatted back and forth a little bit. She told me that she had been suffering with some depression. So I dropped her some links, but then I went away that day and typed up a blog on self-care and dedicated it to her anonymously on my blog site. And I asked my audience to step up because I knew I had other women in my audience, healers, women who had suffered with depression. I learned she was a mother of 5, by the way. I knew I had mothers in my audience. And I was like, you guys, you know, offer some love and support and advice here, you know, for my friend. And they did, and it was amazing. And my friend Shirley, I think felt connection for the first time in a really long time. And she went ahead and had a class with me, went forward and wrote her own 2 blogs for the world to read about being a mom of 5 and then suffering with depression and just that raw story. And what I didn't know while all of that was happening, I didn't find out till much later, is that she had actually been planning the suicide note she'd write to her husband and 5 children. And I swear to God, if it's the only thing I ever do with my writing, ever do with anything, it will have been enough, that one thing. And that, my friends, is one of the strongest signature stories that has driven my business since 2016. So your people, your Shirley, who is your Shirley? They're out there. They're waiting. Sometimes they don't reach out. I mean, how lucky am I that I get to tell you that story, that she actually was brave enough to Facebook message a total stranger and say, hey, you got anything else for me? Wow. But I want you to remember that that fear of not good enough that you're having, it's boring, because your story, your efforts, your words out loud can change somebody's life. They might save somebody's life. It's time to be brave about that and start sharing and stop worrying about if it's written correctly or if it's totally perfect or if it's not bad enough of a story or whatever. You just got to start doing it and getting it out there and doing it more and more. So that story, of course, is a big deal story for me. And I've both spoken it and written it out, by the way. It's in all kinds of forms. It changed the trajectory of my business. It helped me truly understand that purpose has a face and a name. And when I realized that basically I was talking to Shirley every time I put my fingers on a keyboard. So I want you guys to remember that you're talking to your Shirley. Who is that super amazing ideal client that you have now? Type a first name in the comments for me. Who is it? First names. This man or woman who you do your thing for, who has been helped by you, who has told you you've changed my life, who has worked with you and then wanted more. Yeah, look at all those cool names. Justine, Jen, George, Sharon, Susan, Allison, Krista, Jamie, Steve, and Hillary, Megan. Your purpose has a name. The purpose for your stories has a name and a face. So stop worrying about what signature story needs to be told to the world and tell one that Megan needs to hear, Amanda needs to hear, Jamie needs to hear. So now as you look at your list of signature stories that you made earlier, which ones are you going to circle? Are they any different? Are they the same? Could be both. Good. I like huge ahas, Catherine. So after I met Shirley, I knew I had to stop thinking and start doing. I had to start writing more. I had to start sharing the stories more. I actually created a beta course, and it was called something else back then. Now it's called Intuitive Writing and Speaking for Healers, and specifically healer entrepreneurs. And I ran it, I believe at the time that Shirley joined, it was a 12-week course. Nowadays, it's a 6-week online course. And it marries the connected writing, the healing piece, and getting over the purpose-driven fear of actually writing your stories out loud for the world to read, and all of the ways that business owners need to express them, right? And so I love to do this in the middle of a workshop rather than the end. This is the course coming up, and it's starting March 2nd. And anyone who signs up for it before the 15th of February is going to get an hour-long strategy session with me that's worth $250. So you got the link, click on it, look at it later. It's amazing. Several people have told me that this class has been life and business changing for them. And I'm so proud to be able to say that to you.
Laura, is it a live class or is it recorded?
Live. It's probably going to be the only live course I do on a continued basis. And this is also the last time it'll be at the price that you see, which is $397. So now that I got that out of the way and modeled my call to action in the middle of my free workshop, which is what everybody should be doing here, because how am I going to help you beyond today if I want to hold your hand and take you through a journey and get your bios written and your blogs written and strategize your written content so that your clients come to you? Listen, that's way more than an hour-long free workshop. We all know that, right? So this is my version of saying, hey, I want to hold your hand and do this with you. So let's spend some time on this story of yours a little bit more. What's the bigger deal story for you? When you look down at your list, one more time, like see which ones you circled, and or maybe something new came to you while we were talking about this, right? I want you to understand a few important pieces of storytelling that will help you pick, maybe. And here they are. You feel something. It seems like a duh, right? I know. But honestly, y'all, like what I mean by that is if you want Amanda and Megan and Jamie and Krista and Steve and Allison and Susan and Sharon and George and Jen and Justine to feel something, what do you want them to feel? Inspired, hopeful, excited, connected, not alone, empowered. I probably hit, the top 8 there. Well, are you feeling it? Can you conjure it up inside of yourself as you sit down to write the signature story or tell it? That would be a big key. Yeah, hopeful. Go ahead and type them in if you have like the feeling that you want them to feel. Shirley, with Shirley, while you guys are typing, oh man, when I really realized and I had my aha about that, I wanted her to feel loved and connected. And I wanted her to feel that from a stranger. Nice, whole, wealthy, joyful, free, peaceful. So please conjure it up in yourselves as you sit at the computer. Guess what happens if you're feeling a little fearful of writing your story, or a little unsure, or kind of, that's the energy you're infusing into the story. So stop, meditate, do your breath work, do your tapping, give yourself a moment with your own healing work and bring in the feeling. Think of the face, think of the name. And you have to know what feeling that is, right? To meditate on it and conjure it up, and then go after your writing and be excited in the writing, in the scene. Tell them what you want to tell them, right? Shabnam, I think I saw your hand.
Hi, thanks. So when I was making my bullet list, I've been grappling with two like completely opposite bullet things. Like,
yeah, okay.
things that came up. And I haven't been writing about them because I had a hard time picking one. So like one is more joyful and about how I became a healer, and one is more about death and that how I ended up on your Sacred Death book. So is it okay to have two separate ones? And I know like you can write two separate books, but if you're blogging, you can just blog about one theme, right?
I have several signature stories and I swap back and forth when I'm doing virtual events. I slide them into my blogs. I put them into my newsletters. I have several. You can have several. Have as many as you have. Work on all of them, but pick a couple to start with, I guess was my point today.
Yeah.
They can be totally opposite, but I'm going to give you one more tip. Which of those, for all of you now, which of these relates the most to the paid offering you hope to pull people into? And if Shabnam had a service with on death and dying, or a coaching service where she was helping people at end stage of life, okay, I would actually probably pick the death story, because she can tie it in really nicely to, hey, and I can support you, and here's how. And save the "this is how I became a healer" story for your about page on your website.
Which is there. Okay.
These stories are everywhere. They should be everywhere. And it just depends on what you want to do, where you want to put it, right? Which one you might pick. And they might change. Don't worry. Digital age, y'all. You can erase that one, put another one up.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Marion, I see your hand. Do you have a question?
No, I don't have a question. I just had, I was answering that, I guess my aha moment or whatever it was.
Yeah,
and
tell us.
Okay, so it was like very, very late at night, and I was just not in a good frame of mind. I was just feeling nobody freaking gets me. And I went upstairs and I was sat on my bed, and I had a pile of books, and I opened up a book that I absolutely love, and I read a few pages, and then I held it to my chest, and I said to the author who's in spirit, I said to both authors, I said, I'm so grateful, I'm so thankful. And then in like less than 60 seconds, I heard one of the authors say, we're here. We're always here. You just need to reach out. And I just welled up, because it was, I don't know, it was like one of the best things that ever happened to me.
The day two non-living authors spoke to me from a book I read was the day, right? So you can say that as a hook line. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic. Yeah, fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Thank
you.
So
lots of that would go in italics, just getting back to our little,
I know that now. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, anyone else have a moment or have a question? I'll just pause for a sec. You can unmute, please. Just let me know. Good, okay. So back to our list of great storytelling pieces. You feel something, and you're feeling it when you're writing, and I really hope it's the way you want your reader to feel. Match it up, align it. How often do we try to get something written when we're tired? Don't do it. So you understand how your audience wants to feel, and that could be a whole nother masterclass on ideal client, you guys. Okay. I have an incredible workbook. And if some of you don't own it, you should. If you haven't done the ideal client work yet, like really in depth, I'm going to give you a little bonus today. And if you're listening to the replay, just email me for it and I'll send you this little picture I'm going to screen share. So I hope you guys have your phone because you're going to wave your camera at that. Everyone see it? And you, oops, hang on. There we go. You should see it. So when you wave your phone camera at that, it should pull up an opt-in, and you're going to get my masterclass workbook on ideal client, which will take you through some other level homework about understanding your audience. This will be the best work you ever do for your business. And if you've already done some ideal client homework, I highly suggest you go for another round. It's going to deepen through your business, and it's going to get to the Shirley level where you kind of know what's going on in their head most days. Everyone got it? Does anyone need another minute?
I don't know that I'll be able to access it this way. Can you give me another way I can get to it?
Could you just give me a quick email later and I'll send it to you?
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, everyone got it who wants it? All right. So I love that topic, by the way, and it's a profound topic in terms of your business building. It'll help you in so many ways, but it will help you with your storytelling because you're going to know what stories you should be telling.
It's not loading for me, Laura.
Did you tap on
It didn't work for me either. It didn't work for me either.
Same here. It's kind of hanging.
It's not working.
Okay, it might just be the way we're doing it today.
It says error.
Okay, no worries. Here you go. Email me. I'm going to need the reminders, you guys. So just send me a quick email. Tell me you want the masterclass workbook, okay? That usually works, by the way, and it's been brilliant for like when you're in-person gigs too, and you can put it on a little stand on your table, the QR code. So sorry, you guys. I don't know why it wasn't working. Could be the screen share version.
What is your email?
I put it in the chat for you, bewarriorlove@gmail.com.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you're conjuring up the feelings they want to feel as you're crafting the words for your sharing. And because you've done some of the ideal client homework, you know what they want to feel. And I know that in the beginning of my business, I spent so many years guessing, and that's torture sometimes. So take somebody that you've treated for free, take a client that you have now, do an interview. Don't guess anymore. And the workbook will take you through steps that will make sure that is happening for you. It'll take you to the next level of this. So I got a few bonus tips for you guys about this today. You need to get them to put their phone down, which means you have to have the hook. And we talked about the hook a couple times. I couldn't help it because y'all were just doing such a great job with the defining moment. But you do have to write it in a way that they stop and they want to read the rest of it. And what people do with their writing is they write about 3 or 4 paragraphs, and then this juicy hook arrives. And I'm like, what are you doing? Put that on the first line. It's like the big secret of the blog, or it's the big aha moment of the post or the email. Put it first. I promise you they'll read the rest. You think you're going to drag them down the page to get to that? Maybe, maybe not. Put it first. I promise you they'll read the rest. Educate or entertain. What is in it for them in this story? This story is about you, but what's in it for them? You got to do a combo here. And to know what's in it for them, you're going to have to know the ideal client at another level. That's why the workbook. You have to continue to do your ideal client work as you evolve through your business. It's not a one-off homework. Don't leave your writing without a call to action. So posts, blogs, book chapters, bios, virtual talks. If they resonated with your story and they're like, oh my gosh, and they could not put it down and they read all the way to the end and then you put the end and there's nothing for them to do next, maybe they just could read another blog. Did you love what you read today? Read more blogs here. Click. That's an easy call to action. Maybe you're tying your story into an offering like we talked about a couple of minutes ago, and you talk about that offering and then you give them a place to go to find out more about it. Calls to action don't always have to be for a paid offering. They could be to a free Facebook group where you could serve the prospective ideal client at another level. Get them to engage with you, get them into a conversation and learning about you and getting to know you better. That would be the key. How can you get in front of them? How can you talk to them? Can you be on the video with them? Can you do live streams? Can you do, so every Monday, first Monday of the month, we've got the Brave Healer Monday morning super boost. I hope you guys are all in Brave Badass Healers on Facebook, because every first Monday we get together and we do a business coaching and networking session with each other. And that is an awesome thing to do, to get in front of people and get to talk to you guys, and I get to hear what's going on. And you get to hear my crazy voice, right? Like you get to know me. So speaking of getting to know me today, I promised that I would do a book giveaway at every Zoom event that I did this month because birthday month. So the first person, I got to set this up. Hang on. Got to set this up. The first person, Catherine, I'm not sure you get to play on this one. Okay. She won the book earlier because she knows the answer to this. First person to guess what flavor tea I'm drinking today will win a book. I'm watching the chat. Oh my God, we already have a winner. Desiree Hollick, you have won. You were fast, girl.
That's what I was drinking today too, so it just worked.
Okay, so Desiree, you have to email me at bewarriorlove@gmail.com. And I will give you the details about picking whatever book you want. Are you in the US?
Yes, New Jersey.
Okay, then you get to pick paperback or ebook, whatever your preference is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yay, birthday month. Okay, so if you don't have a call to action, there's nothing there to help build your business, period. Do not leave your writing, your amazing, brave words without giving your beautiful people like Shirley a next call to action. Where do you want them to come to be with you? Right? As an entrepreneur, you're going to need to understand what the mission is for that story you're sharing. So, and again, this is a little bit of a bonus tip here. When I shared with you a couple stories today, I chose on purpose. I chose my 2015 Nanowrimo story, right? That would have been my bullet list. And I chose my Shirley story. And these stories are signature stories. They have to do with intuitive writing and speaking for healers, my paid offering. What's the mission of the story that you're going to put out there? And it's okay that the call to action is to something free and not a paid offering. That's fine. But you still want the mission to align so that you can get them into the next step place where another touch point might bring them to the sales page or the next thing. There's such a big list of next things here, right? You guys can play with it and see what works. So what about just an opt-in to your email list? What awesome freebie do you have to give them? All of you should be building your platform like that. All of you should have something where they could drop their name and email and be on your list. I've got so many resources for your business like that. please reach out. If you're like, oh crap, I don't even have an email list today. If that's you, reach out. You have my email there. I will give you some free resources. I'll tell you how to get started. If you're an author or a writer and a business owner, you should have done this whenever ago. And it was probably, and I'm talking about the email list, you guys, get over the resistance of it and just do it. And we'll give you awesome strategies. And you all love writing. So we're going to write stories to those people every week. My email goes out on Tuesday mornings. So the next one will go out on the 15th. And if you go to bravehealer.com, there's a million ways you can sign up for my email list. I have them all over the website, different freebies, different things you can get. And you'll get that Tuesday morning, which is typically just a story from my life. I want to connect with you, right? There's some fun ways to do your email newsletter. Don't call it a newsletter, by the way. Facebook group, we already mentioned. Sell a program, we already mentioned. But what about the discovery call? So getting into a conversation. So one of my business coaches way back when said to me in the beginning of when I was doing that beta course and Shirley joined, she said, I want you to do 30 free conversations with prospective clients as a due diligence and discovery for your business. I want you to have 30 conversations before you create something else. Because I was guessing before that. So if you have guessed a lot and you are tired of that and you want to know the answer to what they want, go have some conversations. And that's not, hey, Catherine, it's so great to meet you today. By the way, you should buy my course. That is not these conversations. It is, Catherine, so where do you live? Want to play with me for a minute, Catherine?
I'm in Lake Mary, Florida. Where do you live?
Lake Mary, where is that near?
It's north of Orlando, right above Orlando.
Oh, awesome. Do you do Disney World like all the time? What's up with that?
No, I don't do Disney World all the time, but I do swim a lot. When it's warm, 7 months of the year, I'm in the pool every day if I could be, or the ocean.
I was going to say the ocean too, because the water is like bath water.
Yeah, yeah. Well, sort of. It's actually quite refreshing.
Are you a kayaker?
No.
Okay. So what do you do for a living?
So I teach on purpose heart-based solopreneurs how to manifest clients. I love everything that you're saying. And I've been transitioning to add a new service that I'm super excited about, where I am just starting to teach entrepreneurs how to break free from childhood conditioning that has us not be as vibrant as we can be when we speak. And we all need to speak about our businesses. So I'm teaching people how to break free and be vibrant speakers.
Awesome. So do you already have a professional bio? Have you written that out for yourself and your course or your new thing?
I haven't edited my bio on my website. I have edited my short, like 50-word bio for speaking, but not on my website yet.
Great. Okay, so I'm taking Catherine down a line of questioning from, hey, who are you? Where do you live? What do you love to do? Because that is what you need to open with. You need to know something about them. You need to know something personal about them, and you actually have to be interested in hearing it. You have to be interested in getting to know the person at another level before you're going to have a sales conversation. Okay, so what if the story that we're working on today led into a place where the person could just have a free conversation with you, just get to know, did you love this story? Do you want to get to know each other a little bit better? Set up a discovery call here. But I think the problem with discovery calls is that the entrepreneurs that I see putting that out, they head into the sales conversation so fast that the person turns off. And they don't even feel a genuineness about that person wanting to get to know them at the next level. Like before I can even tell Catherine about my course, I kind of have to ask her some questions and understand what she's up to and if she even needs what I offer. And she may not. so then it becomes a different kind of conversation, which is like, Catherine, you and I both teach entrepreneurs, healers, how to speak in a better way. I wonder if you and I should start a speaking summit together.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just making this shit up today, you guys, but you never know where a conversation could go for you. You all overlap too, modalities, you guys intertwine, you do things that are similar. Like, please don't have expectations that every single discovery call you're going to have is going to be a client.
But Laura, for everyone who's not a client, they're also a referral source, right? They probably know someone who could be a client to you.
Of course. Yes, you don't know that. And so you got to go in and just like detach from the outcome and just be like, ooh, who are you? Let me get to know you. And you hope that the person does the same with you. You hope that it's a reciprocal road there. And interesting that we're talking about this, because what I want you to know is your storytelling is going to bring somebody to the point where they say, I got to get to know that woman. I want to know that person at another level. How can I do that? How can I move into her world? Right? So I'm going to share something with you guys that happened to me the other day. I went into Trader Joe's, and I can't get out of Trader Joe's with getting dark chocolate. There's a piece of it just to make you guys all really jealous. Okay. So I picked up these 2 bars of chocolate and I go to check out, and the guy's taking my stuff and he's checking me out, and he takes the bar of chocolate and he holds it up and looks at me and he says, have you had this before? This one particular one. And I'm like, no, is it good? He's like, this tastes like dirt. I said, some of us like chocolate like that. This is like 100% cocoa nibs chocolate. Like, it's super bitter chocolate. I dip it in peanut butter, you guys. Like, I'm good to go. You know, I love my super dark chocolate. So I just modeled this story for you, and now you know me a little bit better. So for my birthday, you guys can send me dark chocolate, okay? I'll be good to go. I'm sure it'll be melted by the time it gets to my mailbox, but I will still eat it. So I want you to have fun with your stories, get to know people, allow people into your world. What are those stories that are going to help them? Like, oh my God, I love dark chocolate too. I totally need to know her now, you know? Like, you think it's going to be this big tragedy story or whatever it is, but there's such a spectrum of things you can share with people to allow them to get to know you. So at this point, I'm going to open it up for questions. Or do we have anyone else who'd like to share that defining moment who didn't get a chance to earlier? Either way, you can also shoot the business questions at me right now if you have questions about emails, newsletters, all the things I talked about today.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Earlier we were talking about emotion, and everybody put something in the chat about how you want your reader to feel.
Yeah.
Is it okay if you want them to feel fear or anxiety or?
Give me an example of why you would want them to feel that.
Okay, so and this is just me thinking outside of the box. This is, of course, we want everyone to feel great, happy, unicorns and rainbows. But when you're thinking about pain points, if I'm thinking about my customers, I own a marketing agency for startups and small businesses. And so I would go inside the heads of, let's say, B2B companies under 10 million in revenue who I deal with. And I would think, I want them to think, I want to tell a story about how they feel like all of this weight on their shoulders, trying to be sales, operations, marketing, and completely spreading themselves thin, and they have no bandwidth, and they are like exhausted from every single day. They have no expertise or time to market themselves. So that's giving them this sense of, oh my God, yes, I feel that way too.
My question is, that your story, or are you telling a story about somebody else?
Well, I'm trying to tell a story that my clients would relate to.
That isn't yours,
it's
or
not
is
mine.
yours? Okay,
No,
that's where I want to pause you.
Okay.
Because listen, pain point marketing, you know, we could get into a marketing discussion today. I have used it mildly. I much rather have deep desire marketing. I much rather keep my people high vibe, hopeful that I can solve a problem. And if you want to list the problems so that they're resonating with the thing, of course. But then please transition them to a place, and also please tell your story. Like, out of the million marketing professionals, Desiree, why do I want to hire you? You know why? Because you said something about yourself. You were authentic enough with me where I was like, ooh, I met Joe and Sally last week, but Desiree, she actually told me this story about her life that made me realize it's her I want to hire.
Sure.
So that's the piece there. But yeah, of course you can.
Is it okay if it's completely unrelated to what you do, the story?
I think so, because that will be the art and skill of the transition of where you want to bring them after that. You know,
for example, I have chickens and I'm a honeybee keeper.
Yes.
And like, you know, those are things that other people can relate to, but it has nothing to do with marketing. But
actually, I'll challenge you to find out how it has to do with that, because you know,
well, it's relatable.
Yeah,
but not to everybody.
Tending chickens and bees is not, I mean, that's a special person who does that, and it's a different kind of lifestyle. So I would say, what is the personality stuff behind you that makes you the person that does that? And it will have to do with the rest of the stuff.
Okay.
Yep. Sometimes you have to figure out how to bring them there. But oh my gosh, I love that you just shared about the chickens and the bees. Like that was it for me. I was like, yeah, I want to hear more. You know, I've always wanted to get the eggs from the chicken coop and do the things, you know. I think I was a cowgirl in another life. So you didn't know that about me before I just said it. Yeah. I love farms.
Me too.
I would probably go muck stalls if someone asked me for help. Like, I would do it for free. I just love it. I love the smells. I love the everything, right? But you wouldn't have known that if you hadn't told me the story to get me sparked into the conversation. You wouldn't have, you know, gotten there with me.
Sure.
So I love that piece. And then, yes, of course, you can position your audience, your client, by telling a real, vulnerable, possibly painful story of something that's happened to you where they're like, oh, me too. And then, listen, I do not want to keep them there. This is just me. I'm like, all right, now what's the transformation? How do we need to move to get through the purpose-driven fear and share that story out loud so that you can change your business, right? I want you to feel hopeful, not too scared over there and paralyzed. What else, you guys? Any other questions, comments?
So I have a question.
Yeah, shoot.
I went on the site, the link that you sent, and at the bottom there's a section for a coupon code. Are you currently offering a coupon for the class?
I am not.
Okay.
That is the price until it goes up. And believe me, divide that by 6, and that's how much you're paying a week for that class, and to have a group of women who will hold your hand through everything. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. I probably need to take that off of there. If a coupon code or a coupon for that amount will help anybody, then email me. I'm flexible. I will make it work for you. Anyone else?
So, I have been in a funny position where I feel like a lot of my spirituality has been kind of closeted. In most of my practice, I've been a massage therapist since 1999, and all the modalities that I've learned over the years, I think my spiritual practice has driven me and guided me through everything, but it's not what I've talked about. And I had a really potent experience with my soul in a guided journey in the fall, and she's like, no more of this, and it's time. Like, I also did a lot of trauma healing in the last year, and so I know that so much of the reasons I couldn't talk about these things was not feeling safe. And so I find myself in this position of wanting to be more fully expressed in all the places, in all my work, and show up more authentically, and like, you know, craft all new writing for my website and all of these things. But I feel like I have this, like, I don't know how to show up and do that. That type of writing, right? Like, how do I
So
let my soul
I had
read?
I had a gal that could have said the exact same words that you just said, who talks with dragons. And we got her writing about talking with dragons, and it built her community faster than she ever could have imagined, because she trailblazed whatever she thought people were going to think about. If she started really writing about who she was and who she talked to every day and how she did her spiritual life, she was so afraid of what that was that she never talked about it. As soon as she started to out herself about it, her community magnetized to her. Oh, holy crap, me too. I'm a dragon person too. Oh my gosh, how do they show up for you? What color are they? Do they fly on the top of your house and breathe fire? What's going on? Like, the conversations were amazing. You guys, this will happen. Please don't be afraid to tell your crazy ass awesome stories about the spiritual experiences you are having in this lifetime. Now is the time for us healer folks to be a bit more out loud. Listen, I'm not telling you this is going to be super easy. It's not going to be if someone comes at you about it. It'll be when. You will get the feedback. You will have the trolls. It's going to happen. You have my email. Reach out the day that happens. I'll make you feel better. Because it's all about the way that you focus in on on your Shirley. The minute you spend wasting time on the person who wanted to have whatever comment they want, you're wasting time, because Shirley needs you. She wants to talk about dragons, like, so is that good enough, Erica? Like, you're feeling me with that? I want to hear your stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. And I think, like, the time is now, like, I feel ready for it for the first time. It's just that tenuous, I'm like a toddler. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fall down. Can I let go of the couch and just, like, take a few steps?
What if you told the story that you just told us? Exactly like you just told it to us. You guys, I think it's time. I really want to express some of my spiritual stories. I've been sort of hiding about this with my massage therapy practice. I haven't really shared a lot with my clients, but I know it's going to take them to the next level. What about that story? And believe me, somebody's going to reach out and go, oh, come on, tell us one of these stories, right? They're gonna nudge you.
Well, I've had clients,
the more you learn.
because I do coaching and sound healing and all kinds of other healing modalities. And this fall, along with this soul stuff, I've had clients be like, I need you to be my, like, spiritual personal trainer. Can you do that? And I'm like, yes. And this is super weird. All right.
It's exciting. That's exactly what's going to happen. Fail fast, says Desiree. I love that. Yes. Fail faster, fail forward. Listen, you guys are never going to feel the clarity, confidence, or courage you're hoping to feel before you do the thing. You do the thing, and then guess what? You get the clarity and you feel the courage and the confidence. If you're waiting around to feel those things before you do XYZ or write that story or do your book, you'll never get there. You'll stay paralyzed. You have to move through that purpose-driven fear, and you have to get better at feeling that visceral feeling in your body, but discerning it as the purpose-driven kind, the kind that's going to help Shirley, so that you can tell the story anyway, even with the feeling inside of you. And listen, I know that feeling feels like you're going to die some days. It's very, very close to the survival fear, but it also has a tinge of excitement. It cycles back. Your soul knows. So it's like, I'm bringing this up again until you do it. I'm going to bring it up again. You keep saying no to it. Well, the universe has a plan, right? So if it comes around cyclically, that's a sign that it's more of a purpose-driven fear. Get comfortable in your discomfort zone, because all the growth and success happens there. All. You guys can do this with your stories. I cannot wait to read them. If you need help sharing them, I'm making this offer to you to email me, give me the link, tag me, let me know it's there, and I will help you share. I'll comment on it for you. I'll be part of your share team. And everybody get your contact info into the chat right now. Kelby was ready.
Real
yes,
fast.
Ask a question.
When you were talking about, the dragon whisperer, where was she putting that story so people could find it? Like, was it
blogging it?
Blog? So it was a blog.
Blogging and email notes, newsletters, and and also chapters in books, because that's Miss Atlantis Wolf that I'm talking about, and she won't mind that I'm calling her out, because some people here already know who that is. So she started writing in books, Camille. She started publishing it for the world.
Yeah.
Talk to her, because she's one of the people that came to me and said, Laura, after I took that course, everything changed. And I'm so thankful to her for telling me that. Okay, I see you guys is getting your contact info there. I'm going to give you another minute. Get it in there wherever you want people to contact you. You have a link, you have a group, you got something, email. And I'll give you another minute to do that so that we can all save the chat and make friends and make writing share groups, blog share groups. Come into the Brave Badass Healers, y'all. Is anyone needing that link who isn't already in there? Because every first Monday, we have a fantastic session. I'll find it while you guys are typing, if my computer moves fast enough. What other questions do you have? We've got a couple more minutes. Anything goes today, y'all.
Laura, and this is Mariko. Yes. So I feel like I've been a big life-altering shift from 40 years of being in kind of spiritual practices and holding sacred space and shamanic breath work. And so I've been diving into this whole other arena of a whole new wealth paradigm, which has absolutely been life-changing, life-altering. And it's an area that I have never focused in on in terms of my finances. Things have always kind of been like, I've been an entrepreneur and just like the universe has always provided. But, I'm looking at my life now, I'm like 62 and have just been introduced to this whole other kind of wealth creation paradigm shift that has blown me out of the water. And so I'm wanting to, share that.
Okay, here's how you share it.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, this topic, this money topic, what I'm going to tell Mariko to do, she's not going to want to do it, but I'm going to model it.
Thank you.
You guys, when I started publishing the collaborative books, my physical therapy practice shut down. I had a 6-figure physical therapy practice, solopreneur, and we were married. I was saving my income. That's how much money he made. Okay. And so then divorced and running 2 businesses and knowing I needed to shut the first one down so I could get the second one going, I was terrified and pulling below 6 figures with COVID. It was going away. It was going away. Finally, I shut the practice down and started Brave Healer Productions and started publishing collaborative books and getting my healers messages out there and getting the ripple really moving. And I had a multiple 6-figure year last year. Now, for me to tell you that took something, I'm just telling you it took something for me. People don't talk about money. They don't want to talk about money. They've been taught that they shouldn't talk about money. They've been taught that if they do, something's wrong with them, or they're going to be taken advantage of, or something horrible is going to happen, blah, 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 blah. So break out of what you were taught in terms of sharing your stories Because if you share your money story, Mariko, and someone is like, holy crap, how did she do that? I would like to do that. And then Mariko has a strategy for you. Then I'm going to be like, Mariko, let me click on your bio link. I want to see what you got going on. So, listen, it is super fun to be able to tell you my money story. I was terrified when the child support payments stopped after divorce, and I did not have this new business. I was like, crap, what am I going to do? And my money mindset story is quite a story for another day. I am a ninja about this. I have mindset moves that have attracted more to me in the last 2 years than I could ever tell you, like magical. I do not use the word magic lightly, but that's what it's felt like. So I love that. And what's your story, Mariko? Like, you don't have to tell us right this second, but what's your story going to be? How brave are you going to be about telling us the moment that was vulnerable for you? You with me? Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Did everyone get their contact info in? Anyone need another minute? I think we talked long enough that everyone could get it in there, right? So everyone know how to save the chat? You can make friends with everybody. So 3 dots in the chat, click there. And then the drop-down menu will say save chat. And I challenge each of you after today to reach out to at least 2 people on that chat connection list and have a follow-up conversation with today. You know, Fiona, it was so great to see you at the storytelling thing with Laura. What did you think? Like, did you come up with your signature story? Like, you have an automatic icebreaker conversation, you guys? Do you want to be a writing share partner with me? Like, give me your Facebook link. Like, let's get together, right? I challenge you to do at least 2 conversations as follows. You know, that's easy, right? If you were into some mega business development, I would say do 5 to 10 a week. That's what I've been doing. You want to know how I got to where I am? Between 5 and 10 conversations a week. It's a lot, but it works. Don't let that scare you. Like, it's also really fun. And not all of the conversations are going to be super awesome, but some of them are going to be so awesome that they're business changers for you. So keep having them. I challenge you to 2 this week, okay? Let me know how it goes. And I hope I get to see some of you in the class. We are going to have a blast. I'm going to help you write and speak bios, blogs, chapters, books, talks, summit talks, elevator speeches, and we're going to get you over the purpose-driven fear at the next level for you. And we're going to do it with a practice of body awareness and healing that is Brave Healer. I'm so glad you guys came today. I'm going to stop the recording, but I'm going to hang out. If I can stop the recording, let's see if I can do that on my little tiny screen. Okay.